I was on LinkedIn today and someone posted and was like, someone make an app for this. And I was like, okay, I can do that. So that's where this idea came from. And it's kind of blended from there. It's just kind of expanded on what I could or could not do. But I figured this was a good idea to show everyone how to use Cursor to make an application and my process for using an app. But the last application I showed you how to do was just a really basic website. It didn't have a database, it didn't have API calls, didn't have anything cool in it. And this one actually has something cool. So, and it's quite funny, especially if you work in the tech world and you get cold called all the time, or cold emailed. So let's dive in and I'll kind of show you the process of what I did. As we work through this build, you're going to see me pop up. So you're going to have me with me, and you're friendly at Neighborhood Rochelle, your vibe coder, not expert, but trying to learn. And what I'm doing is I'm going to help clarify some things. There's some points where I do some wonky stuff, and I want to make sure it's clear what we're doing, why we're doing it, and make it make sense for you. So I don't want it to be confusing, but I also want this to be as authentic as possible. So welcome to this vibe code. Welcome to this build. But you'll see me pop up to make things a little bit more clear whenever I kind of got in the zone and I forgot I was recording, or I did some crazy things and I couldn't figure shit out. So that's where I'm coming from. So we're going to start out with the problem. And the problem is that if you get sales messages or if you get LinkedIn messages that are obviously super generic, right? They got your title from your company and they were like, hey, I need to reach out to you for this. My product solves this problem. And they really have no idea who you are. And they haven't done any research. It's obviously done by AI or bot, which I get. Like, I'm building an AI app to combat AI, fighting AI, whatever. But some of these messages, like some of them are really good and some of them just really suck. And you get them and you're like, you have no interest in me. Now, I'll tell you my personal way of how I combat this is if you look at my LinkedIn, I actually have my volunteer work listed first before you get to my day job. And so I actually don't show up in any searches, which is kind of fantastic. So I'm actually solving for a problem that I don't have. I don't get these messages. So I think that's why. I think it works because my volunteer work, like roller derby, like who puts roller derby, like, and they're trying to market to them. And so that's one. But or maybe I'm just not cool and no one actually wants to market to me. It's probably option two. But what I don't get these messages, but I know a lot of people do. And I even know like companies I work for, they send them. And they use AI tools to send them. So I'm actually kind of fighting fire here, but that's okay. It's fun. We're having a good time. So what I am going to do is I'm going to show you the idea. Sorry, got distracted. The idea is like some people get like 80 of these messages a day, right? And they are obviously not geared towards you or the problems that you're trying to solve. They don't understand you or your work or anything. And so what they want to respond, and the person had posted and they said, hey, like somebody take these emailers and subscribe them to all of these crazy bot emails. And I was like, oh, I bet you could do that. And so I did my process. I took the idea, I put it into Cursor, and I don't know what I was thinking here. ChatGPT, not Cursor, ChatGPT. I was talking to Cursor, how could you turn this into the app? And I got schooled. And Cursor was like, you can't do that. That's actually breaking a lot of rules. I don't know if they're legal rules or just like I know GDPR, like they'd get pissed. So what they said you can't do that. I was like, oh, okay, well, what can we do? So we went through and we designed an application and we came up with what we're going to call Inbox Echo. And so Inbox Echo is going to be kind of fun to design and we have a whole idea. So let me show you what we've come up with so far and where I am at. So I'm going to share my screen here. So we're here. I'm gonna move me down here. Okay, so ChatGPT. So what I did is I basically had a whole thing, right? I've had a whole conversation with ChatGPT of what could we do? How could we do it? What are the restrictions? Why are they restrictions, etc. Okay, I've had a really extensive conversation, probably over like the past hour intermittently with ChatGPT of what could we do and why, what my outputs I want to be, what I want my inputs to be, what the user experience would be, etc. So I had a general idea. It did guide me on what was actually possible and what was not possible. But that's how I ended up getting this markdown file. Okay. So it just literally outlined everything that we had talked about was through ChatGPT. Then I'm going to go into Cursor. And right now in Cursor, I don't have a project. So I need to make a file. And I'm going to go to my drive. I'm going to make a new folder. And we're going to call it Inbox Echo. Um, okay, now remember before I said don't use capital letters and don't use spaces. Okay, that matters. So we are going to open a project. We're going to open Inbox Echo. And here we go. Now, Cursor's been changing lately. It's been like reordering shit. I don't really like it. It's annoying. But I have my chat window here. I need a terminal. So I'm gonna open up a terminal. I don't have a file window. I don't know where it is, but there it is. Okay, so I click that button to get it back. But here in Box Echo, I need a new file and I'm gonna label it instructions.md. We're gonna enter. And we're going to paste these instructions. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I am going to tell Cursor, I am looking to build a new application called Inbox Echo. I have added the instructions and outline of the application in the instructions file. If you can review the instructions file and let me know what questions do you have before we start to build the application. We're going to send that. Gotten better at using voice. This is by playing with the cursor with my son. I am still not super comfortable because I like typing things out, but for the sake of doing this, I guess I will type for you. I'll help you out a little bit there. Okay, so it reviewed the file. It's a thoughtful product concept. The mirror, not a lesson philosophy is clever. Clarifying questions. Okay, one, auth method. Do we want email, password, authentication only, or Google? Let's do email, password through Supabase for ease, and then we'll add Google. We'll probably add some more and see how that works, but we'll do email password just first. Supabase project. Two, I can set up a Supabase project and then we can use the CLI to create the tables. Three, OpenAI. I do have an OpenAI key and I'll add it later. I'll add it in the ENV.local when it exists. For payments, Stripe. Stripe 5. The spec mentioned see earlier spec for noise score. Oh, I'll add that. I'll add that as a markdown file. 6. Monthly reset, the Echo reset on the calendar month, or should be sign up. So Stripe has an integration. You'll use webhooks to basically find out like what's their current status, when's it renewing, when can you reset numbers, etc. That's what it's looking for there. 7 sample echoes for the homepage. Try it. Should I pre-write too? Or do you have specific examples in mind? Um, we will find some and test out the AI call. 8, redaction. I'll take your opinion here. 9, design. What should we think design wise? Uh, get creative and then we'll modify. Thinking something stop sign-ish. Stop sign-ish with still being classy. Wonder how it'll take that. 10 UIDs always. This is more for the dashboard so we can see if the sender actually looked at the echo. 11. Probably expire. 12. You tell me. Okay, so here's the idea for the app. Here is kind of how it's going to work in ChatGPT in my mind. Is let's say I'm a user and I get one of these cold outreach and I don't want to respond to it. Or I realize like it's really generic, it's not for me. I don't want to respond to it. I don't want to book a meeting. I don't want to engage, but I basically want to say acknowledge like, hey, this was super generic. You just wasted your effort sending this to me. Or I'm not your target audience. So what I would do is I would copy the text and I would paste it into Inbox Echo. And Inbox Echo would generate a link, and we would send that link back to the sender of the original cold outreach. And sending it back to the sender, when they click on it, it opens up a web page and it basically kind of roasts them for sending out the generic outreach. And whatever level of roasting is chosen by the user whenever they generate the echo. Now, there's more to it than that, and you'll see that whenever we build it. But that's the idea, is basically they get cold outreach, they take that, they put it into Inbox Echo, they get the link, and then they send that back to the user. Now, eventually, the idea is maybe we do like a Google plugin or something for Gmail. So you're in Gmail, and you can just click the link of Inbox Echo, and it'll have you like pick what level of sassiness that you want, and then it'll send back your link and you can see what it looks like. But that's the idea of what Inbox Echo is. So that's what we want to build. Okay, so as it runs there, I am going to go to Supabase. And I need to go to, so right now I have a couple different projects. And I need to start one for Inbox Echo. And I need here. So I'm basically contemplating here, how much money do I want to put into this? How much effort do I want to put into this? So in Supabase, in your account, you can have essentially 2 projects, and then you can have, it's like organizations, and then you can have projects underneath those organizations. And so I have Connect Links as a project, and that's a pro level, so I pay for that. And I have a couple different projects underneath Connect Links. So like Inklings, Remember Links, Story Links, like those are all underneath that. So I have cron jobs, edge functions, more storage, all within that organization in Supabase. And I pay for each one of those. So it's not the full amount, but I think it's like adding $10 a month for the extra ones. So I've put those in there. And when I was first filling this out, this moment, I'm like, I don't know what this is going to do. Watch this be like my most successful one. And I was like, I don't really want to commit to this because I'm just doing a YouTube build. That's the point. So this is why I created another organization as my playground, and then I created the Inbox Echo project underneath it. Do I want it on pro or do I want to just play? We're just gonna play. Okay. Playground. And it's gonna be personal. We're gonna create the org. I don't know if this is gonna go anywhere. Watch this be like my most successful app. But I don't want to pay for it. At least not yet. Hmm. Settings. Project name is Inbox Echo. Save. Okay, so there's the project ID. So there we go. So what did it say? Excellent answers. Let me give you my recommendations based on open items, redaction, rejects, great, rate limiting. Um, okay. Design direction. Wait. Yep. Can you? I'll get those. Okay, so I need to go to ChatGPT and go back to here. Okay. I don't really know what all this says, but that's okay. We'll go back here and we'll create another scoring specs. Oh, dot rename dot MD. So it asked me for the scoring specs. I got to give it that. And then I need an ENV.local file. So I got to do ENV dot, oh, env.local. And I need to add these things. So I'm going to add all these things while it is creating. Okay, so I added the scoring specs, and I'll work on the ENV local file while you build. Okay, so I am going to go find all of these. Okay, I don't want to blur all this out, so I'm just going to basically fast forward through this part. Okay, so I got all my ENV.local API keys added. So an API key is just a secret. So what you have services that you want to use. So for example, mine are OpenAI is who we're going to call. So with like ChatGPT. And then we are going to call like Stripe, and we're going to integrate with Stripe. And then we also have Supabase, which is going to be my database where I'm going to host things or store the data. And these different systems I'm going to interact with, I need a key or I need a secret in order to interact with it. And that secret is stored in what's called an ENV.local file. And that ENV.local is kind of your hidden file. It doesn't get pushed to GitHub. It doesn't get saved. It's basically like hidden in a closet so no one can touch it. And then you're able to access that info. And whenever your servers interact or they try to take action, they verify the info with that key. And so you don't want that to go anywhere. You don't want to share your API keys. You want to store them in a vault, like 1Password or something, so that you make sure that they don't get exposed. That's something that's really important. I always have OpenAI, or I always have a Cursor tell me the structure of my ENV.local. So I have it like write it normally says like OpenAI service key or something, or API key equals. And then I just paste in what that API key is, because the formatting really matters. If there's extra spaces or something in there, it will not find it. So that really, 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 really matters. It's super important. So make sure that whenever you're setting up an API key, you're looking for all that. Now, your API keys are found in your account. So like here, this is my Supabase instance. And so for Supabase, I went into my settings and then I went to API keys, and these are my API keys. Now, they're obviously blurred out because I don't want you to know. Okay, I don't want you to know these service keys. These are important that I don't want you to know. Okay, for my sanity and to actually get this video done and published, I just went through and I'm gonna redo all of my keys. So you can change out your keys, so you can disable keys and get new ones, and then you would change your ENV.local for any sort of ongoing development, and then you also change where you host as well, so you update those keys. So I've recycled all of my keys. So if you see any other ones in the video, they're not live. You're welcome to go try them if you want. But that way I save my sanity on blurring all of these out, because blurring was taking way too long. But that is something you want to do, is you constantly want to recycle your keys, probably every month, every 90 days. Because if they ever were to leak, if you accidentally push them to Git or whatever, that means anybody has access to any of your stuff. So that is no bueno. And but those are my keys that are going to allow me to access everything. Now, I'll show you right now, when I go into my Supabase, it's empty. There's nothing here. Okay, it's absolutely empty. There's no tables, there's no information in here. And I don't like building tables. I don't like adding in policies. I don't like doing any of that. So I have Cursor do it. I connect what's called CLI. And I actually did not do this for my first one. I only did it for like my second and third ones. Oh my God, it makes your life so much easier. Please do it. So by using the CLI, it basically connects Cursor directly to Supabase. So they talk to each other. So you can like run migrations, you can update tables, you can run things like directly from your terminal. So you don't have to leave a cursor and it's going to run directly in Supabase. Then you just have to refresh Supabase and validate things were done, and it makes your life so much easier. So I highly, 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 highly suggest that you connect your Supabase via CLI to your cursor instance. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you're either going to have to create your tables manually, create your headings, create your policies of who can access what and everything all manually, or you're going to have to use the SQL editor. So the SQL editor is basically where Cursor could create instructions, and then you could copy those instructions and paste them in here. And if you paste them in here, you're able to see your results right down here. So this is basically the SQL editor is like, give me actions and I will perform those actions. Or give me lookups and I will perform those lookups for you, which is really nice. And when you use this, I'll use it at some point to show you, you can actually export your results as a JSON, and then you can go right into Cursor and you can paste it right here, which is really freaking awesome. It saves you a bunch of time and effort, which is super, super, super fantastic. We love that a lot. Okay, look what it made. Um, oh, we got to add more to the ENV.local. We got to add price IDs. Um, okay, so in Stripe, okay, let's talk about Stripe because I messed this up and it's really confusing and I'm sorry. I'm human. So with Stripe, I have one account for Stripe, and that one account is for all of my products that I've made. So Connect Links is the main one, and then there's Remember Links, there's Ink Links, there's Story Links, which is the one for my son and I, and now there's Inbox Echo. So there's a bunch of stuff going through one Stripe account. Now, with interacting with Stripe, I've done this wrong every single time. Okay, so I don't explain it very well, but I am going to show you now how this should work so that you can have an idea of what should happen so that you can do this better. I'm going to cut it out of here or out of the actual video so that you can follow it a bit better. So let me show you what should have happened. Okay, welcome to my Stripe. So with my Stripe, when you first log in, you're in your main Stripe account, and when you're building your application, you want to build everything in test mode first, and then you want to switch to live production mode. And we talked about these environmental variables that give access to your accounts. Well, that's what you need for Stripe. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go into test mode. So up in your account, over in here, switch to sandbox, you're going to go into test mode. So you're going to see up at the top, you're using test data. Okay, this is important. You want it to say test data. And the key things that you're going to have to get is going to be down here in your developers. You are going to get your API keys. So you go to API keys, and your API keys are going to have your publishable key, which I keep calling perishable key, whatever, your secret key, and then your CLI key. So all of these have test in the key name. Okay, so that's the key thing, is they have test. So those ones are what allow you to connect to your account. So you have your publishable key, your secret key, and your CLI key. Now, you will also have this for live as well, except your CLI will be replaced with a webhook. Okay, so for test, you will have a publishable key, a secret key, and a CLI. Then you have your actual products. So on your product catalog, still in test mode, you will create your products. So for each product, you're going to create it just like a normal product with a logo, a name, an amount, everything. So you have an actual product here. And it's either going to tell you to put a product ID or it's going to tell you to put a price ID. So your product ID is on the right next to details. Your price ID is going to be on the drop down in the middle, and you can get your price ID per product. Now that's how it's going to identify what are they subscribing to or what are they buying. So that is really important on that front. So you're going to get that info that goes in your ENV local. Okay, so this is running in dev, is you're getting them for your ENV local. Now, when you are ready to go into production, you need to put these variables into your wherever you're hosting. So I host in Vercel. So you're going to have to get your variables and you're going to put it in Vercel. But you are not going to put your test variables in unless you're still testing. But when you're ready to go live, you're going to put your live variables in there. So your live variables, you have to have live products and live things. So you want to get out of test mode. But before you do that, you can go up here and you on the product and you can copy to live mode. So you can either create your product straight again, or you can copy the ones that you've been testing to live mode so you don't have to start over from scratch. So you would still have test products and then you have live products. So that is really important there. But to get out of test mode, you have to exit test mode. So up here, exit test mode. And we want to view all live. So now I'm in live mode. So these are my products in live mode, and these are important. And so these products in live mode is what I would use. So I would go into my live mode and I would get my product ID or my price IDs to put in my variables. So that is important. I would go to developers and I would go to API keys. And these are my publishable key and my secret key, but these are my live ones and they say live in them. Okay, they normally start with PK live or SK live. So you have one version for test, you have one version for live. So your test ones go in cursor in your ENV local file. Your live ones go in Vercel in your hosting environment. The difference is one will actually run a credit card, the other ones won't. So you can test and you can test the flow. The other difference is in test mode, you use the CLI, and I wish I knew what CLI stood for, but it basically is running locally to see if anything changed. So if you add a subscription or something, it will update. Outside of that, you would have to create a webhook. And a webhook is basically when an action happens in Stripe, it's going to tell your environment that an action happened in Stripe. So that is a webhook that you'll see me walk through towards the end. But I've messed this up many, many times. So this is my advice not to mess it up. Test mode, you have your publishable key, your secret key, your CLI that you are going to need, and then your price IDs or product IDs per product in test mode. Then you have your live mode. You have your publishable key, your secret key, your webhook for subscriptions, and then or like completed transactions, and then your price ID and product IDs for your actual live products. Okay, so that is how you run Stripe. It says the next steps is run npm install to install dependencies. And so we can do that. So what does it say? Um, hmm, what do these mean? What do these mean? Outdated dependencies. Yep. So these are important. Don't ignore these. Like, ask what it means. Um, so it says run this. So I copy here. So this is where you just follow directions. So it says run this. So I come here and I paste it here. So now it's running. After the update, you might see some vulnerabilities. Most are low or only in development, not in production. Well, we haven't started yet. So I'd rather wait, right? Isn't that best practice? So this is where it's okay to question cursor. It's okay to say like, hey, what about this? Let's double check this. So we need to make sure we're handling this appropriately. Now, this is also where it is a good time, or it's always a good time to think about security and to think about how users are accessing data or what they can access. So this is where I have a file that is, let me find it. So I have this file here that we're gonna add it. It's this security template. Now, this is something that I actually have posted in a few groups. I should probably put it on my website. I'll probably link it in so you guys have access to it. But this is so I built a couple different apps. And one of my first application that I actually made was through my work. And I work in security and compliance. I work in our partner program. So here, I'm gonna pause for a second. I'm gonna come back to that. So it says run a clean install. So I'm gonna make it do some work real quick. Okay. Okay. Well, now since we are starting fresh, oh, I should use the thing so that you can hear me. Well, since we are starting fresh, can we look at what has been built so far and make sure it adheres to the guidelines in the security template file that I just added? These are best practices around security, and we want to make sure we are building a secure and safe application around data. Okay, so with this, let's look at what it says when I ask this. Okay, so basically what I did is I said that my day job is in security and compliance. I work for the partner program, and so security and compliance is a big deal. I can't build an application, whether for work especially, or in any of my passion projects, and then not be secure, because my partners would just roast me to no end. Like I would never hear the living end of it. So for my job, my first app that I built was actually for a quoting tool and for my partners to build out quotes for their end customers. And that quoting tool had to go through a full pen test. And a pen test is when someone tries to break into your app. So they try to hack it, and then you give them credentials, and they try to hack every avenue within your application, where they're looking at every user journey, where they should have access to data, where they shouldn't have access to data, and they're testing everything. And they're trying to get users data that they shouldn't have access to. And they're really testing all of the protections that you've put into place. So, like, imagine, easy way to put this is like Instagram, right? It would be really bad if you have your Instagram and you were able to pull it up on a computer, run a command in the computer, and get into somebody else's DMs, right? That would be bad if you could see all of their stuff. Okay, no bueno at all. And so they have security in place to prevent that from happening. They have authentication. They have where you can't get in, you can't see all the data, and it like gets super complex. So what I did is because that application went through so much rigorous design and so much intense pen testing and then remediation on the pen testing, and I vibe coded the entire thing. I built this security template, or I had Cursor build a security template off of it. And the security template is written for vibe coders to where you could learn what does it mean. So like authentication, authorization, encryption, validation. What does all of this mean? And give you a bunch of ideas and analogies to make sure you understand what's what. So now how I use this is I put this security template, excuse me, I put this security template into my applications and I do just this. I say, hey, I want to make sure that I'm building a safe and secure app. Are we building according to the best practices in this security template? And that's really important. So here's what it did, right? So it says that like authorization, all API routes check the session first, return 401. Authorization, users can only access and modify their own echoes. Input validations, we have ZOD schemas. I have no idea what any of this means. But basically it's pulling in all of this information. And what I do every time I do a build session is I will say, hey, everything we just builded or everything we just built, check it against the security template again. And it's like, okay, let me run this thing. Let me check it. Let me run this thing. And it's a really big deal. Okay, it's a big deal. Okay, so it's saying for rate limiting, it says use up stash Redis REST URL. Rate limiting, does rate limiting cost money? Cost money? Hmm. Yeah, let's just keep it in memory for right now. So this is where I always ask Cursor. I'm thinking like this is just fun for me. I am not looking to go crazy on this. If it happens, it happens. But this is literally just fun for me. So I'm always asking, what is the cheapest freaking way I can do this? And I have it teach me that. So this is what it does there. So it went through and it looked at security for me and it tested this. So here is where we are at. Okay, so basically stop somebody from like going crazy on it and hitting the API a ton of times, but it's not perfect and that's okay. Okay, so we are running this. Sweet. Zero vulnerabilities. That looks great. Okay, did that. Where are we at? Where are we at? Okay, we need to run the migration in Supabase. We created the Stripe products. We need to fill in. Okay, Supabase is set up. Oh, Supabase is set up. We have the project. Can we run the migration via the CLI? Okay, so we are running the CLI. I think we can just copy this. I don't really have a lot of luck with this. I don't know why. Oh, see, hold on. It tells you your project ref here. That's why that won't work. Okay, so here, install Supabase. Nope. Command C, we're gonna empty that. Install. Whoa. Um, Permission denied, something like that. I think I already have it. That's why. I think I already have Supabase installed on here. Instalize it, not instalize, initialize maybe. This. Oh, yep. See, there we go. We recommend updating regularly. How do we update here? So I always copy the server over here and I put it over here and I say, how do we update? Oh, okay. So we have a new command. We put it here. Oh, didn't work. Or if that didn't work, then we do this. Whoa! I don't know what that was. Oh, my file went away. Let's try this. This isn't liking this. Isn't liking that. Oh, okay. We gotta have sudo. I don't know what sudo is. Sounds like a Japanese thing. Oh, password. Okay, so this threw me off forever. Wait, is it the password for Supabase or password for, it'll ask for your Mac password. Okay. No, it's not. Um, it's still giving us errors. So one thing is when it asks for a password in your terminal is when you're typing, it won't show you. It will literally just look like you're not adding anything and it's driving me crazy. I hate it. So just be aware. It's like, I don't know if I'm typing or not. I don't know if I hit the right thing or not. I don't know. It's annoying. Okay, homebrew. Third time's the charm. So now it's going. So now what we're doing is we're updating Supabase. That's the goal. Okay, so now it's updated. So we did that. So now we need the project reference. Okay, so here is the project reference. And I always copy into the terminal or into the chat before I put it in the terminal, because once you put it in the terminal, editing that is kind of a pain in the ass. So my project reference is in Supabase or my ENV.local. I could go either place. This is my project ID. So it's that. I no, Control V. I take this whole thing, Control X, Control V. There we go. So now I'm linking this project to Cursor. There we go. So it is linked. And now we do this, the Supabase DB push. Do we want to do that? Okay, I'm going to show you first. So here on the project, the tables were empty. We don't have anything. There's no tables. There's nothing. We are going to say yes. Damn it. Do you want to push these migrations? Okay. That didn't work. That was anticlimactic. That's okay. This happens. This is like building with my son. He's like, does it work yet? He's like, no, not yet. Okay. Well, we're gonna try again. Um, is there any data yet? Do we have anything? Oh, we don't have anything. Hmm. Doesn't really matter. We don't have any data, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, it might have done like auth and stuff, which is okay. There we go. Basically cleared out the Supabase and then pushed it again. Remote database is up to date. So we come here. Hey, looky there. Okay, so we have echoes, which it tells us that the echoes, which is great. We have message fingerprints and we have users. Look at that. So we have all of this, which is fantastic. Supabase is up and running. Okay. Can we, before we get too far, hold on, sorry, voice. Before we get too far on the database for the echoes, can we track token usage for OpenAI so we can track cost? So input tokens, output tokens, or average. That way we're able to estimate overall cost of the application. So basically, when you're working with OpenAI or any AI call, everything costs money. Okay. Anything on the internet, nothing's free. Everything costs money. I don't plan on selling data. I just don't want to deal with it. So everything costs money. So I need to be able to track like what is the average cost of everything so that then I can price appropriately. So right now I have priced based on like just estimations, right? I have no idea. I did a 199 and a 999 tier. I can modify that, but that's what I have right at the moment. So what I am going to do is I'm going to price and we're going to kind of see how things land on token wise of how much does everything cost. Then I can go into ChatGPT, which I found works really well, to figure out what are my margins, figure out like how many users, paying users do I need in order to cover my costs. And then figure out like what can I get to profitability and things like that. What's worst case scenario with my free tier, things like that. So I always want to track costs. My doggies think it's playtime. Okay. Um, API usage tracks OpenAI who made the requests, which echo was it for? Input tokens, output tokens. Okay, so this is a really great example. Um, Okay, so this is a really great example of where AI or Cursor, sorry, my dogs think it's playtime, wants to always create a new table. Like that's its default is it's going to create a new table. And that just creates super complicated data and we don't really want that. So I actually don't like that at all. And this is where you have to pay attention to what it does. Otherwise, it just creates crazy data. It makes it really hard to track. And so I think that's too complicated. I don't need to do that. So what I need it to do is I need to instead of it excuse me, instead of it creating a brand new table, all I need it to do is add input tokens, output tokens, and the really just input tokens, output tokens onto what the echo, because I have the created at time on here, and then I could sort by day. on an admin dashboard of how much did each day cost. And each one is tied to a user. So I could go per user to see how much each user is costing me. So this is a concept called flattening your data. And so it's paying attention to what cursor is doing. If you just let it run blind, you're going to screw up. Okay, don't let it run blind. Pay attention to what it's doing. So I don't want to take this approach. I want to keep my data flat. And so I think all we need to do is on the echoes table, add a column for input tokens and output tokens. And then we can have an admin dashboard that would allow us to sort by day, because we already have the created date there, or a range of dates, and or users, or the tier of users, because we already have all of that information tracked. So as long as we add the input tokens and output tokens used to each echo, which it would be one API call, I think that would give us the information we need. We don't need another table. See, told me it's a cleaner approach. I told you. Okay, I need water. I'll be back. Puppies just got treats. They like treats. Do we need it to reset the database, or can we just push a migration to update the table? So again, this is where you just need to keep AI in track, and this is just learning as you go. So here, I'm just going to push. And do we want to add token tracking? Yes, yes, I do. So it pushed. Great. So now I'm going to come here. I'm going to refresh. And input tokens and output tokens are there. Yay. So that is there. Now let's go. Let's see what it looks like. Okay. So we are going to go npm run dev. It's my favorite phrase. So we're going to come here. I can see on here that it is running on localhost 3000. So it is running there. And it is we are going to go to localhost 3000. Inbox Echo is a live thing. It's there. So we have a mirror for cold outreach. Your inbox is flooded with personalized messages that all sound the same. Inbox Echo shows senders exactly why their message blend in so you don't have to explain. Start for free, see how it works. The problem is familiar. Every week, the same patterns arrive. Notice your profile. Would love to connect. Quick chat. They're not bad messages. They're just indistinguishable from each other. They blend in. They follow up. Silence reads try again. You spend time. Or worse, just ignoring everything. Okay, see it in action. Try it to see what senders would experience. Hey, stumbled across your profile and I'm really impressed by your background. Would love to grab 15 minutes to pick your brain about your experience. Noticed your work and thought we should connect. Oh, this might be well. Okay. How inbox works. Oh, I like the little stop sign of how it did. That's cool. You paste the message, so you copy outreach message that you receive. We immediately redact names, companies, and personal info. You choose your tone, professional, sassy, or they aren't getting the hint. You pick how you want the boundary delivered. Send your echo. You get a unique link and a reply message. Send it once. The sender sees exactly why their message. I'd say their message didn't work instead of blended in. What we store. Privacy isn't optional. Here's exactly what happens to the outreach messages. Hi, Sarah. Noticed your work at Acme Corp and thought we should connect. I'm John from Widget Inc. We help companies like yours increase revenue by 40%. Would love to chat, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's awesome. That looks great. Go big, ready to set the boundary, create plan. Not bad. Like, not bad at all. This is awesome. This is pretty good. The why, pricing, sign in, sign in. Let's go back to inbox echo. What do they have for, see how it works? Try it. This message, it felt familiar, opens with a common discovery phase, move quickly to a calendar request and uses familiar language patterns. Messages like this arrive often. They ask for time without offering context. Okay, we're gonna have to fix the echoes. Um, we're gonna have to fix those. We're gonna have to see what those look like. Okay, so that's where we gotta actually try it now. But not bad, right? From all of the prompt, not bad at all.